Howdy. This is a catalog or a compilation of everything drama related to Idleon to clear up some popular misconceptions or misinformation that might be shared around. Unfortunately, not everything drama related surrounding Idleon since its upbringing is included in this video. Some stories have been left out due to a lack of contextual information, and we as a team decided it's best for all of us just to leave certain stories out that we may not know the entire story to. The last thing we want to do is spread misinformation. To the best of our knowledge, we used as much context as we could for each story, but unfortunately with so much censorship surrounding Idleon's drama, our job was made pretty difficult. This video is purely for educational purposes, and it's not made to make anybody look bad. This is all stupid high school drama. But, yeah. This video is entirely edited and written by Hayden or Bandit Bob, and it's voiced by me, Jack. Anyhow, let's start the video.
Several weeks after I had started YouTube, Lava had commented on one of my videos saying that he would add an actual Bandit Bob NPC to the game. A joke comment as Bandit Bob was already in the game. However, this comment will come up later. On April 19th, while talking in general chat, Lava says, "Kinda wish Bandit Bob didn't hijack my character in a way." Minutes later, a guild member had sent me this screenshot. I went to look at it in chat and started typing my response. Lava sees me typing and says, I know you're here. He then goes on to say, "Kinda sad that it got stolen. It's not like you did anything to earn it or anything." He then says, "And there's probably lots of people who think Bandit Bob is your idea or some reference to you." I then respond with this screenshot, which he then responds with past Lava before he realized his character would be thiefed. After this, throughout the day, Lava would go on to change my Discord name repeatedly. Several hours later, Lava comes back to chat and talks about something random, and I replied to it, only for him to say, "Also, can we rebrand you, by the way, just gonna say it." Nearly a month later, I saw Lava in game and I say hello, and then he responds with this, "How many gems to change your YouTube name?" After talking to some guild members, I decided to message Lava. "Hey, Lava, I know you want me to change my name from Bandit Bob, and I understand why. But if you look at it from my perspective, I'm just a kid that's a fan of your game, and I've had this identity for a while now. It kinda sucks, really sucks that you're making me change it now, after months of using it. I've been known by this, and have interacted with tons of people, Twitch streamers, other YouTubers, and every big guild. And I want to be honest, this really hurts. Really badly. Is there a specific reason you're doing it now, after I've been active on this Discord with this name as well as YouTube for so long? I mean, lots of people use names from the game. It never really came to my attention that lots of people would be flooding to the game and seeing your stuff. I mean, Bandit Bob is like the staple of my career in a sense. He's the pins I'd give out at conventions. He's on the Joker card of my Idleon card sets. I mean, you've had it for a few months, but I've been working on games since 2012 and have wanted my own recognizable character ever since. I've wanted this since you were 7. I don't want people to get my pin and go, 'Ah, dude, that's that one YouTuber who plays the game. I like that guy.' I want them to go, 'Ah, Bandit Bob. I love that character you made. He's so funny.' There's a good chance I'll never have another character like Bandit Bob again. It's not that big of an issue, since this is all small-scale stuff, but if everything keeps growing, there's no way I'm giving up the identity of my landmark character to someone else. And there will come a point where I need you to stop or rebrand so you're not called Bandit Bob. Imagine there's a YouTuber just called Mario. There is. Nothing else, no other add-on to make it a bit of a spin-off and its own thing. At first, Nintendo would be kinda pleased to see someone enjoying their work, enough to make it their identity, and that's where we are now. Just on a final note, again, I understand you're a mid-teen. I was too a few years ago. But a few months is a minuscule amount of time. Again, if I were to ever do merch, like plushies, cards, and pins, I already did some of those. I can't have someone running around with the identity of my character who's been an accumulation of 9 years of work. I don't know if you are planning on keeping the Bandit Bob name, but you can keep it. To be honest, it's not that big of a deal, all things considered. Don't get me wrong on all the past stuff. I know it was probably tough for me to come down so hard on you, kinda out of nowhere. Age isn't really the biggest thing, but like, I thought you were my age. I remember being a teen. If I were in your position, I would have felt very hurt too. So, my honest apologies about that. After publicly ridiculing me and harassment in game, I got the good ending. Now, let's talk about some situations where people didn't get that luxury. Akik was the leader of the Cat Guild, which was, at the time, one of the top 5 guilds in the entire game. They were highly competitive, and the leader himself said he made the guild purely for that purpose. Akik created a rule within the guild that members could not share certain information, such as GP, outside of the guild. This information eventually made its way to Lava after being reported by mods by someone with an alt account in the guild. Akik is self-described as being antisocial and just wanting to keep to himself. It was assumed by moderators that they were cheating due to the fact that they were the top 5 guild and they were trying to hide their GP numbers. This information was spread by some of the moderators, such as Funny Lucky in the main Discord, and then later fueled by Lava himself. Before I get into the discussion, argument, and debacle that occurred after, let me preface this by saying that Lava can access GP numbers at any time. He can check for obvious signs of cheating and GP manipulation without ever interacting with anyone from the guild. Since this was the only reason that this was even brought up to his attention, you would think that this would be his very first or even second step. Funny Lucky publicly shamed the Cat Guild, telling the main Discord not to join them because they were sketchy due to the rumors of them cheating and their secrecy rule becoming public knowledge. Akik then messaged Lava about the harassment he has been receiving and the negative publicity towards his guild, to which Lava told Akik that he could not force people to be silenced and would reprimand the guild in some way if the rule had not been changed. Akik responded by comparing his threats and demeanor to that of a Nazi. Akik is not an English speaker and claims that he only said it because it is a common internet term used to often describe an authoritarian behavior and/or practices. During this, Lava started talking about the whole situation in the public Discord, claiming that Cat was sus on the basis that they were likely cheating and the leader was being hostile as a result of his messages with Akik. This led to a significant number of people in the main Discord targeting members of Cat, repeating "Cat is sus," and even changing their names to variations of the phrase. After publicly defacing Cat and branding them as cheaters without even checking server side, which he can easily do, he managed to get an invite to the Cat's Discord by someone in the main server. During this time, he froze the guild, meaning that they can't gain any more GP. This ultimately resulted in a large number of members leaving the guild. After his inquiry, Lava removed Akik as the guild leader and replaced him with Graf, another Cat member. After 3 days of the guild being frozen, no Cat members during the inquiry stated that they were being silenced, or whether or not they disagreed with the rule, with many of its members having left the guild due to Lava's actions and behavior of removing their leader and freezing the guild for 3 days. The guild very quickly dropped from the top 5, but it did eventually manage to recover, a little bit at least, currently maintains a spot in the top 25, but it will never fully recover. Lava later confirmed that he knew they did not cheat. Since his previous public shenanigans of publicly defacing them, he did not mention them in public again and tried to sweep everything under the rug. He never publicly cleared them of any accusations nor offered a formal apology to the guild for the inconvenience and harassment he caused toward them. He did not inform anyone publicly what actions had been taken or why. To summarize, Lava slandered a guild publicly and used his position to cause harassment of a guild and its leader based on heresy and speculation. His confrontational approach resulted in hostility and made threats and demands as to how the Cats should play as a guild, despite the fact that they never hurt anyone or affected anyone negatively, and none of its members had an issue with the rule. Following the release of the 1.4 Christmas patch, a new pack was added to the shop. This pack adds an entirely new feature for paying players, Auto Loot. Auto Loot makes it so whenever you walk over an item, you pick them up automatically without having to click on them. Now most people won't realize this at first, but you are paying for a certified lag reducer in the game. Leaving the game on leads to drops building up, causing the game to lag, which in turn loses you, the player, out on EXP because the game is moving at a slower pace, alongside the added effect of generating immense amount of resources allowing players to bypass the loot despawn timer. So not only will players who bought this bundle see an abundance of resources building up, they will also see an increase in their active EXP gains. This is just one of many instances of pay to win in the game. However, Lava released this pack in a broken state. There is a bug that will not award you the auto loot feature. If you buy the bundle through web, to guarantee getting it, either wait till it is fixed, or buy it through Steam or Android. Even worse, after you buy the pack, if you use the storage chest or inventory upgrade and have items in the last 5 slots of your inventory, or the last 8 slots in your storage chest, you will lose those items permanently. When the 1.22 update came out, an NPC with its subsequent questline was added to the game. This questline required you to watch YouTube videos by the game's creator in order to complete them. Once these videos came out, anyone who shared how to complete these treasure hunts in the Discord would have been banned on the spot. Myself and many others had uploaded us completing these treasure hunts on YouTube. A week later, Lava had messaged me demanding me to take down the video. "Hey, can you take down your treasure hunt video?" "What? Why?" "What do you mean, why? I made that content so people would watch my video, not so they'd go and watch a different one." Bandit Bob then posted this screenshot to show that he's not the only content creator to post this sort of content, which Lava then responds with this: "Yeah, and I don't have direct contact with these guys. Just because other people are breaking rules doesn't mean you aren't. Please take it down. I'll have a word with them as soon as I get the chance. I thought that only applied to the Discord." "Well, it didn't, so please remove it." "So people can't make videos on certain content in the game?" "Yeah, the content that I specifically made to plug the official channel, which includes treasure hunt videos. End of list. So, will you take it down?" "Fine." Essentially, Lava is trying to control the content creation around Idleon, going as far as threatening the people who make content on his game, as well as controlling the very content they make. Throughout the history of Idleon, hacking and cheating has always been a major problem in it. This is mostly because the game is almost entirely client-sided, making any kind of cheating infinitely easier. The game didn't see its first iteration of any kind of anti-cheat until 2 months after its initial release. Why do I not see hackers anymore? Let's just say that we had a little chat. But for real, I've got some really sleek anti-hack in. You won't be seeing them anymore in the game. The problem is, the anti-cheat was completely done locally, so you could, and still can, literally unban yourself by changing a single line of code. It also banned normal players who just got to a high enough level. This is Lava's official statement on anti-cheat. Again, total waste of resources and time, and would make the game super laggy and slow. Not any fun. Anti-hack right now is relatively strong. Like, you really need to hack and be careful not to trigger it. A popular Idleon YouTuber who often uploaded videos of himself cheating in the game, where he showcased unreleased items, hacked stats, and various glitches. Ironically, the account where he very obviously hacked and cheated in was completely untouched and not banned in any sort of way. The developer often dismissed talks about anti-cheat because it doesn't affect you, because the game really wasn't an MMO for the first 3 months. The game was released with absolutely no multiplayer features, and the one of 2 multiplayer aspects of the game was added months later, the first in February of 2021, this being guilds, which they were completely server-sided, the other being party dungeons, which was added nearly 8 months later. And because the game was so infested with cheaters, the developer insisted that party dungeons would be completely cheater-proof. However, not only could you cheat in them, but you could also pay to progress far greater than any non-paying player. At the end of dungeon runs, you get loot dice, which rewards you with the dungeon's exclusive currency as well as the dungeon's exclusive equipment. But with how easy it is to cheat in the game, you could either A, cheat in gems and infinitely buy the dice, or B,
With the dice in your inventory, using any memory scanning program, you can dupe as many as you desire. While this isn't cheating or hacking territory, it is pay-to-win related. Every player gets 12 free boosted dungeon runs where you receive vastly more resources, allowing you to progress more smoothly. It's basically impossible to progress when you run out of them, but with the power of money, you can buy up to 33 more of these dungeon runs with gems. In all, it takes around 5,775 gems to get all 33 boosted runs, which comes out to $30. To summarize, the game has a lackluster anti-cheat where it often bans normal players, as well as being entirely client-sided, allowing you to actually unban yourself, as well as one of the primary functions in the game not only being heavily pay-to-win, but also completely cheatable. Medroso was an Idleon content creator who, at first, posted guides for the game, but eventually he started posting videos where he showed off hacked stats, unreleased items, and some glitches and exploits. Around 3 months ago, Medroso's channel received 4 copyright takedown requests in one day, and these strikes were handed out by Lava himself. The videos that were taken down was an exploit showing how to get infinite amounts of a certain item, him showing off future classes that were already in the game, and 2 videos showing that the anti-cheat in the game was faulty and didn't work. When it comes to the anti-cheat videos, one showed the viewer that it was possible to unban yourself from the game, and the other showed that the anti-cheat just didn't work very well. However, Medroso never showed how to do any of the cheating, and he never showed how to get future classes, and he never showed how to unban yourself. Lava never made any attempt to contact Medroso to get him to take down the video, like he has in the past with the treasure hunt videos, which in itself is a whole nother can of worms. And he also never made any attempt to fix any of the content that was shown in the videos. The last time Lava ever talked about Medroso was in October, where he is just straight up lying about the whole situation, and then he even accuses Medroso of lying. So this was Lava's response to a negative review on Steam, because we all know how well Lava takes criticism. They were posting hacked videos, so I requested they get removed. I had the option to copyright strike them, and I didn't, despite that probably being the appropriate action to take against someone posting those kinds of videos. Instead, I just issued a removal request. If they said I issued copyright strikes, they were straight up lying to you. I'm sorry to say. To understand why I left Idleon without much of a trace, it's important to recognize how I started playing the game in the first place. I was a great fan of Lava Flame's previous game, Idleskilling, for its huge variety of content and fair gameplay progression. So, naturally, when Lava Flame announced his new game would be an MMO, I was ecstatic. I became one of the first alpha testers and soon after started making videos to explain basic concepts in the game. Early on, we were reassured by Lava that he would follow a similar development approach to Idleon as he did with Idleskilling, both in terms of updates, but also when it came to decisions like monetization, assuring us that gems would not be required to play the game properly. As my channel slowly grew, I was noticed by Lava, who wanted to collaborate. I made him the trailer, which is currently used on Steam and YouTube today, which you can tell by the flying meep in the first 2 seconds of the video. In the end, I accepted to be paid in gems since the advertisement didn't perform as well as we had hoped. I'd love to, man. I started this whole YouTube thing just to play around learning how to edit, as I was already fluent in Photoshop. Before Idleon, I haven't really touched anything related to it. So yeah, remaking the trailer is something I'd love to do. We'll start right away. We can discuss payment later. I'm just a student doing this for fun, so I don't need top dollar. And I know you're not exploitive. So your video could truthfully be 0.5% better, but perform 0.5% worse. Sure, so, how many gems is it? Yeah, but I guess we need more data as well. Hourly wage here is 12 euros. Spend about 12 to 18 hours on it, so let's say 15. 12 times 15 equals 180. Hold up, Lava was gonna pay you 180 gems for this shit? I don't know about your previous comment, but kind of exploitative. After this, my role within the Idleon community shifted a great deal. I started to manage an in-game guild, which quickly grew to become one of the best, and by far the biggest guild in the game. No longer was I just a content creator. But I was also a community leader, organizing events, spending hours a day on spreadsheets, interacting with members, and generally keeping the guild in good health. Like, just making the game not pay to win isn't enough. It's like very not pay to win, sadly. Trust me. I should be able to do what I do and not have to reassure people, no, it's not pay to win. Would I not still be one of the least pay to win games out there? I have a question. What is the mental hang-up behind me refusing to sell out and making the game super pay to win? This is where I also came into contact with all the struggles that my members had, balancing issues, game performance, and monetization to name a few. Since this was my first time in such a leading role, I took the criticism to heart and voiced my concerns within the community. Time and time again, the response would be that we would have to wait for Pachinko, a free-to-play method of earning gems, and Lava assured us that the game would never become pay-to-win. But his responses slowly became more and more aggravated, and you could feel the frustration in his messages. Right around this time, Idleon YouTubers came together because of the horrible treatment they and their friends received from Lava, some of which have been outlined in this video. Most of this information was new to me. Lava was always nice to me after all, but it did immediately gravely concern me. And fueled by the concerns of my guild members about the future of the game, I slowly began to doubt Lava's judgment. My guild was highly competitive, like most top guilds in MMOs are, but a lot of my members were minors, or did not have a lot of money to spend, and they actively fell behind on paying users, fueling their frustrations. You can then imagine the outburst within a community when a new update launches with more than $100 worth of new pay-to-win content. That day I received numerous messages from people that were going to quit the game, and as such, I felt that pressure, and wanted to bring the discussion to light, while also picking a bit of fun at Lava's ironic stance on pay-to-win. And this resulted in my infamous video, called The Biggest Bug in Idleon. Now I must confess that I might have acted too fast because of the heavy emotions involved, but the video itself, while including a twerking Thanos, did not necessarily mean to hurt or attack anyone. More so, bring the conversation to the table, and as such, it ended on a note warning Lava and asking him to fix what I saw as the biggest bug in Idleon: rampant monetization. I screwed up. What was intended to be a lighthearted take on a serious topic ended up seriously hurting Lava, counteracting what I had set out to achieve. To him, the video was not seen as lighthearted, but as a personal attack. As I saw that Lava did not take the video well, I quickly took it down, but this did not stop him from slowly descending on a path of full-blown spite. After a few days of sobering up, we talked again, both of us willing to make things right. We explained our views, and Lava explained that he's still planning on getting Pachinko out, and won't be so hard on monetization in the future. After this long conversation, I profusely apologized, and from this point on, I would try to communicate the worries within my community directly to Lava. For example, I explained burnout within my community, more monetization worries, and other issues that occurred regularly. But my messages were left on read, and the feedback was ignored. When Lava was asked about burnout 2 months later, he replied that anyone burning out of Idleon right now is just not good at life management. My pay-to-win video was intended to discuss a dangerous precedent, and retroactively, boy, did it arrive on time. Only a month or two later, obols were added to the gem shop, allowing you to straight up buy more power for your character. So I made a last statement to my community, which spread through other guilds as well. I'd like to express my concerns about the recent updates. The following is my personal perception and does not reflect or resemble any other member of the God community. Some may agree, others might disagree. I just wish to share my 2 cents because I think it might be vital to the game's future. I'm deeply concerned about the direction of the game. Right after World 3's heavy monetization, you can now buy obols. You are now effectively buying stats, increasing your account strength with the swipe of a credit card. Getting obols at these levels as a free-to-play player is incredibly difficult, painful, and expensive. The power gap between whales and free-to-play players has increased immensely. But okay, let's say if we forget about World 3's distasteful monetization. Let's forget about time candies, card packs, obols, and look to the future. World 4 will bring pets, and as expressed by the game's creator, the update will feature monetization to fund the game for the coming months, meaning it will be heavily pay-to-win once again. Okay, so the main argument that usually gets passed around when these concerns are brought up is, but you don't have to buy anything. Well, yes, of course, this is true. But those are the famous last words of a fairly balanced and respectful MMO. And this exact trend of decline can be observed in many online titles if you don't speak up. The aggressive monetization will continue. And when the inevitable multiplayer functions get added, the cracks of pay-to-win will shine through. I tried to speak up, had a long conversation with Lava, and it ultimately resulted in nothing. I'm not the game creator. I don't handle financing. But I would still argue, both as a player and a prominent community leader, this is not okay. Idleon was always advertised with no pay-to-win. You can get everything by playing, and no scummy business practices. Well, both of those statements can no longer be seen as even remotely truthful. Players invested time, money, and love into this game, and in the end, the monetization is slowly receding to run-of-the-mill whale trap mobile garbage. I made a lot of mistakes with my pay-to-win video. I should have reached out to the creator before putting it online. We talked on Discord for hours, but he later removed a lot of his messages and some statements are now just completely false. I later tried to be more transparent, shared concerns in a respectful manner, but was ignored, and the whole discussion was just thrown in the gutter. Sadly, I am convinced that this trend will continue. My pay-to-win video even came at the exact right time, and sadly had no effect at all. If you read this comment a few months from now, you will probably notice even more pay-to-win in the gem shop. You might be fine with that, and I respect that. Just please be informed what kind of game this has become. If you want to take this game more serious than a single-player app you open once in a while, you have to know what you're getting yourself into. For me, Idleon was a shining beacon of hope in the mobile gaming market, but now it has just receded into the scummy pitfalls we see so many mobile titles time and time again. I don't want to normalize these practices or be any part of it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, and stay healthy. God. Not long after that, a loot box type of candy was added to the gem shop. By this time, however, I had already quit the game, and other lava drama, as discussed in this video, was floating to the surface, and my attempt to be transparent with Lava instead of going behind his back had been in vain. Leaders of the top 25 guilds in Idleon had assembled together to create a sort of feedback council for Lava. We wrote him a formal email, which we extended our hand to help him with our expertise and the backing of thousands of community members, but never received even a single reply. I had personally also not received any messages back from him ever again. Feeling burnt out, I had passed my guild leadership, all my spreadsheets, and all my hard work off to my moderators and retired entirely from the game. I hadn't touched the game for months, and suddenly on the day before Party Dungeons went live, I received a ban from the Idleon Discord server. I had not said a single word for half a year, so I was baffled by my ban and immediately contacted a moderator. While the moderator confirmed that the ban did come from Lava himself, he could not find a reason for it, nor did anyone on the staff team know why I got banned. When I messaged Lava, I found out I was blocked, and after even emailing him, I never got a response back. I've thought about this situation countless times by now. What would have pushed him over the edge of banning me? I had apologized, tried to help him, and even left silently when I burned out. The only thing I could imagine is repressed spite. After all these months, he still hated my guts. And why? Because I talked about pay to win with my community half a year ago? I only mirrored my own ideals. You would think that this would be the end of the situation, but even months later, Lava is still banning and punishing guild leaders of the God Guild, people that were never involved with my videos or statements and never said a wrong thing, even though I did not own the guild anymore. Bans were still handed out. Then, months later, Lava decided to disband the guild altogether for no particular reason, or at least it was never clarified to our guild leadership. Suddenly, the majority of our guild leaders were banned, and after talking to Lava's moderation team, I had found out that this was because one of our guild leaders had accidentally pinned a tutorial for a common exploit in our Tips and Tricks Discord channel. Mind you, there were hundreds of tips and tricks in that channel, and it wasn't clear if that particular mechanic was an exploit. When asked why all guild leaders were punished instead of the one responsible, the moderation team replied that the other guild leaders should have identified the exploit and removed it immediately. When I explained to them that the other guild leaders had no involvement in the channel moderation, given that they physically do not have the permission to change anything, and the whole pinned tutorial has a needle in a haystack of well-intended community posts, the moderation team defended their moves. I reiterated our stance and explained how our community server functioned. Guild leaders do not moderate our chat channels, so can't be held responsible. I thus tried to shift the blame from our innocent guild leaders, which were merely bystanders, to our own moderation team, to which they thankfully listened. Our moderation team was banned, and our guild leaders were unbanned. At this point in time, I would like to reiterate the witch hunt nature of these accusations and punishments. Right after we got an anonymous message, our guild will be disbanded, they found a very small infraction of their own rules on a community server that they do not have jurisdiction over, and used that to ban every single guild leader of the biggest cluster of guilds in Idleon. I don't know what is more insane, although I actually do, because a day after we had switched our bans to our moderation team, our guild leaders were banned once more, without any notice or reasoning. Now, if you take this whole incident in isolation, you might be able to sympathize with Lava. But if we zoom out just a little bit, player communities delivering often negative feedback on a game, or its monetization is at the core of the development cycle. See, for example, what this developer of a pay-to-win game had to say at their own conference.
And we've won in terms of money with this feature, but we've lost something. And first of all, players actually reached every developer they could through social media and wrote them, "You're bad. You suck. We don't like what you do with the game." And people started to be ashamed of what they're doing. It's like, imagine you're working on one of the best mobile shooters in the world and you don't like what you do. That was a problem for us, and it turned into slower production. The features made after that were made slower because people were really afraid to get another wave of hatred from our community. That was the first time for us when we understood that we are doing something wrong and we need to change this thing.
And even if you don't like the feedback, nor do you wish to listen to it, it is a huge leap and very destructive for a community as a whole to ban both the largest content creator and the biggest cluster of guilds for it. We are talking about hundreds of guild members who are left without a guild leader capable of recruiting. Instead of reflecting on the feedback received and nurturing a community for all, Lava goes out of his way to villainize people who deliver criticism on his work and alienate them from the community. To summarize, a badly constructed meme video about a serious topic within the community made Lava have an emotional meltdown. Almost half a year later, he did not reconcile, banned his largest content creator, and continues to ban anyone who even tries to keep the God Guild alive.